Next, we are just moving to our next section, establishing collaborative spaces and hubs, and are kindly requesting A.B. Abraham, the Executive Director, Promtech Global, to come to the podium. It's our immense pleasure to welcome A.B. Abraham to come to the dais. Yes, he is here. So Executive Director, Promtech Global, kindly requesting to come to the dais. Let's give a warm applause. We have Ankit Sanjay Shah, the CEO, co-founder, HRH Next Service Limited. And next, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome Barun Chandran. So yes, he is not physically with us. And next, we would like to welcome, with all love and respect, we would like to welcome the moderator of the section, Dr. Arun Surendran. Let's give him a warm applause. We have Arun Surendran, the principal and the strategic director, Trinity College of Engineering. And now we are just moving to our next section.
Just a while ago, Nawaz Miran sir was here, the chairman of Eastern Group, Miran Group. And he was talking about how important it is for an ecosystem to provide an entrepreneur with all the strength and skills that he or she needs to succeed. So I'd like to start there. How do you see the ecosystem currently in India, and what's your awareness about it in Kerala? Each of you.
Yeah, I'm very confident on how Kerala ecosystem for entrepreneur ecosystem is getting shaped up. Right, I'm a Pravasi. Right, I live outside country, and I live in UAE. Right, so when I wanted to set up something in Kerala, for me, I don't know somebody else's experience. It was pretty easy for me to set up, and in fact, I was set up my organization back in Kerala during the pandemic period. It's okay. And the ecosystem, startup ecosystem in Kerala and other economic forums in Kerala, which is, which I felt which is very supportive and reachable, and, they're very enthusiastic to support companies like us. And I'm pretty confident on that. But, any growing ecosystem or any growing setup, there are a lot of corrections, there are a lot of improvements is required, which definitely periodically is going to happen. I was also part of Invest Kerala Summit, which was organized a couple of months back, right, which was a fantastic event. I think first of its kind in Kerala, I believe. And all, again, the Skill Summit, which is happening today. And this is pretty interesting topic. And I came all the way from Dubai to just attend that. Tonight I go back, right? So this is all initiative and helping the entrepreneurs and helping to create entrepreneur mindset among our people, which is really fantastic. And I appreciate the the government and private partnership, or the government bodies involvement, and how they how enthusiastically they work for it, which I'm really feel the enthusiasm during my last 4 or 5 years experience in Kerala as an entrepreneur.
Thanks, Dr. Abraham. So my name is Ankit. I am the co-founder CEO of HRH Next. We are one of the largest players in the vernacular contact center space. The entire skilling industry is undergoing a transformation at this point of time. With the advent of AI, I think people will have to upgrade themselves, if not equip themselves with latest technologies. It's the story pan-India and world over. But the other thing that I want to talk about is how the Kerala government is helping us. So we set up shop about 9 months back. We opened a center in Palakkad, resonating with the work near home concept. And to not our surprise, but that facility was sold out right from day one. We have about 200 folks working out of that space. More than 60% of them are women. About 80% of them are graduates. So we're very thankful to the Kerala government for giving us an opportunity. Obviously, there are plenty of challenges that we'll have to maneuver, but I think it's a great start for Kerala.
Why did you pick Palakkad, or how did that decision come about?
Yeah, so we are the leaders in the regional vernacular space. That means we speak in the language of the Indian customer's choice. So our centers are located based on the vernacular expertise. So for example, for Telugu, our headquarters is in Hyderabad, but then we go tier 2 like Warangal, Nizamabad. For Kannada, we have our HQ in Bangalore, but we also do a tier 2 in a town called Tumkur. For Tamil, we have a very large facility in Coimbatore. So there was a lot of requirements from our clients to provide them Malayalam speaking agents. So while we realized, in our Coimbatore center, a lot of these people were actually coming from Palakkad. So we said, why don't we open up some center in Palakkad? So as the story goes, I think it's a lovely success story that we have.
Do you have plans for further centers in Kerala?
Yeah, but Dr. Thomas was telling me to open something in Patanmati, but we'll see. I think the model is evolving. What we're realizing is that for most of the consumer-facing businesses, language is very important, and especially the language the customer really wants to speak in. It's not in English or a Hindi. They don't want standardized and robotic responses. When the consumer is talking, you have to talk to him with the heart. Yeah, definitely. I think from the consumer perspective also, a lot of these brands are looking at Malayalam because of the fastest growing, in the southern languages. Malayalam is actually taking a huge upward swing. It's like a J-curve. If you talk to any e-commerce player, the kind of conversations that are happening, especially the growth rates in Malayalam, they're unparalleled. So obviously, if given an opportunity, we'd like to move into further spaces.
Wonderful to know. I mean, we know we are a consumer society, so that's probably what reflects. AB, you have seen, I'm assuming, from up close, how Kerala has changed in the past 10, 15 years. So, using regular visits or your involvement with business, how do you see it in terms of infrastructure change?
Yeah, Kerala is, have to change a lot in the infrastructure space in terms of accommodating more, in fact, and for us also, we wanted to expand, right? But we don't have space to expand, right? So, there are companies, there are different internal arrangements which are company which we need space in the space where we operate, which is in Trivandrum Technopark, and we are not getting space there to expand. So the infrastructure side, Kerala has to work on more to increase the infrastructure base to enhance the knowledge-based employment opportunities, which is really, geographically or socially more, adaptable for Kerala community to be there, and which is definitely Kerala government and probably private collaboration or something. It will have to focus more on that kind of infrastructure facility in terms of. Otherwise, the people's mentality, the bureaucratic approach and political approach, and I think for me as an entrepreneur who set up my organization here as a Pravasi, okay, I'm not faced any big hassles, big challenges to set up my, company here. So that's sort of all my experience. But infrastructure, yes, as you said, the remote ecosystem or remote. Mr. PM Riaz was mentioning about, we met in Chennai for last week, and he was mentioning about the concept which they're working on it to rural area kind of a thing, which is really welcoming. But I told him, we'll have to create some more brand image for that to, make the candidates feel that, okay, they're working in a bigger environment. And, see, for my point of view, is the global employment is, or job culture is getting changed. It's more into a skill-focused job culture is coming, especially rather than a location-specific job culture. The post-pandemic, feel that, it's remote working or work from home and those kind of things are quite normal. And the technology tool also changed in such a way that we can easily, from our language, we can easily translate to a different language, and we can easily communicate to a Chinese guy or a Spanish guy or anyone from our regional language. That kind of technological changes is happening with the artificial intelligence side. So the employment opportunities are really getting increased. So Kerala has a lot of potential to use that changes, especially our youth. They will have to shape up our skills accordingly and provide more infrastructure to attract international companies. And we'll have to market more. what the changes is happening in the state, we'll have to market it more. I think in that side we are little lacking. So we are, I think, trying to promote what is happening in as a negative. And that is probably we are trying to highlight it, but we'll have to more focus on the marketing side.
We recently had Soho Group move into Kottarakara, which is not a big town, but that's probably a model that we are creating for the rest of the towns. Coming back to you, Ankit, how do you see the human resource potential? You said as soon as it was announced, you got 60% women and the whole center was taken up. What would you advise the coming generation in terms of how they can be better prepared to utilize such opportunities?
I think we keep having this debate inside the organization. The fundamental thing about Kerala is that the lure of the outside is so high that is the only competition we have. It is not the talent that is the problem. It is the mindset. Okay. For us, the way we were able to ramp up close to 200 within 60 days is because we provided them, a state-of-the-art facility. It looks international. It feels like a startup, right? They feel when they come to our office, they feel like they are probably working in Singapore or whatever, right? So I think that was the first premise. We said even though it's a small town, Palakkad, with a 3.5 lakh population, but we went all out. We said we have a first mover advantage. Let's give these people an opportunity to feel that they are working in a very large MNC environment. There is a coffee table, there is a foosball table, there's all of that. And, a very fancy setup. It makes them feel that they are part of a larger culture. From a talent perspective, Kerala never had a problem with the amount of literacy, the level of literacy that they have. The only problem that we felt was the mindset. And I think it all depends on how we are able to position brand Kerala and maneuver them to, think about work near home and contribute to the local economy.
How do you see the change in the human resource potential that's available? What about the youngsters who are coming into work for your company?
Yeah, the human resource potential, I don't have any doubt on that, right? Of course, in our education system, that it is more into text-oriented education system, what we are following, even in our Kerala syllabus or any Indian syllabus, if you look at. But that has to be more changed, I think. And I was attended one of the event in the last week in the CBSE Skills Summit in Chennai, which the CBSE is doing a lot of deliberate effort to develop, or creating a culture, school to work, right? From the school level onwards, they are developing the skill set of the students to prepare themselves for the work environment. Such kind of, training programs or such kind of, with the participation of probably local industries and local economic bodies, it has to be implemented at least in our colleges level. So, which will help the youth to prepare more to the work environment. Otherwise, when we recruit, more text environment and the practical environment is two different things. So they are so pampered in the schools or colleges.
Even in their houses.
Yeah, even in the house, they all 1 or 2 kids, right? So then they coming to the real work environment, the pressure. So that emotional intelligence, we'll have to train the people. I always talk about people and our team members also. In the AI era, if you wanted to withstand, you have to be very strong in your human-centric skills, especially the human-centric skills. All the fancy positions which we are seeing, or it can be a data analyst, it can be a such kind of jobs. The AI is outperforming than human in certain extent. But whereas the human-centric skill set, as he rightly mentioned, the customer, they wanted to talk in the local language and they wanted to talk from the bottom of the heart, not from the brain only. The AI can probably replace the brain, but not the heart. So we'll have to train our people more, or our youngsters more into the EQ skill set or human-centric skill set, then probably we can better face the AI challenges, or then nowadays everybody was scared about it. Actually, it's not about scaring. Actually, the human ability cannot be replaced by AI. And so for that also has to be trained, and little training and little events, and prepare the kids, prepare the youngsters, young population to be prepare for work. It's very important, at least in the university and schools level, because we are more focused on texts and cracking exams, which is if you look at probably the skill set training in the school levels. South Korea probably it's leading with 90% of the students, the school students, they are training for skills. Whereas India, if you look at the skill training, it is 7 to 8%, which has to really change. Our education system has to change accordingly to prepare the youngsters or students to face the reality or face the job or real work atmosphere. We'll have to coach them from the school age onwards. That is a little lacking here, but it will eventually. The initial step is the thought process has to correct. Now I think that the entrepreneur thought process has really came in every, the political parties, bureaucracies, normal layman, and everybody is thinking or developing kind of a culture, which is happening across India, across the globe, of course in Kerala as well.
One of the reasons why I have been chosen to moderate this is because we run a full-fledged back office in our campus at Trinity College. We have around 55 engineers, and surprisingly, it's not a computer science company, it's a construction company in the Middle East. The entire quantity survey, CAD, audit, accounts, everything comes back. So my students are familiar with punching in, punching out, working from 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock shifts, coming in on Sunday because the Middle East is working on Sunday. So that kind of, ultimately it's a monkey see, monkey do. So once they get to see this is the potential which they can work, and they're very happy to get an internship there within the campus itself, become a trainee and so on. But coming back to HRH, still our education system, like AB mentioned, we still have these silos where if you're learning maths, then there is no need for you to learn language or soft skills to talk to another human being and so on. But you have nicely wedded language skills, soft skills with technology. They have to know the latest technology as well. So how important it is for us to start turning from the school stage itself so that people are capable of being employed in the future world.
I think that's the problem, not just for Kerala, but for the entire country. You will be hearing a lot of these reports that come out about the skill gap that he was highlighting. And the South Korea example is absolutely a phenomenal one. Because what we find also in our organization is while people will come out with top grades, but the real life skills are always lacking. So you spend about 30 days trying to tell them how to talk to a customer, right? Which should come very naturally to you. Looking at how hospitable a country is. But it's that fear, it's that, little tentativeness that comes while joining the first time workforce. I think the suggestion really is to start imparting skills education at a very early age, and also during, the pre-graduation, send them out for internships. What we find, job readiness internships at some factories or workshops or whatever. What we usually find with these guys is when they have a break, they usually go to their father's office to work or father's shop. That is, sometimes it actually works, but sometimes it doesn't work as well. So, a proper structured internship program while during the graduation time will augur very well for the readiness of the employees.
I think the trouble why that gets delayed is because we are still stuck on the exam system. Going for an internship and coming back is not rewarded academically. Yeah. It's finally when you go for the placement that industries will appreciate it, but your professor may not appreciate.
Dr. Arun, just one point I wanted to add. See, the government of India did the internship program, right? It's a fantastic concept, but that is restricted to only the top 100 countries, 100 companies in the country. Probably, if Kerala wants to leapfrog it, open up that opportunity to medium and small scale enterprises like us. Why restrict them to only top 100? Right?
Yeah, that's again the mindset with which I sat and began wondering how Palakkad figured when Trivandrum and Kochi could have been. So once we open up, the whole thing changes. But right now, I think the competition is global. Every city, be it in Vietnam or Cambodia, can compete with an Indian city. So being a global outlook professionals and business owners, how do you see such a competition shaping up, and how Kerala, we have already cleared that we need to brand ourselves much better, but what are our advantages, disadvantages on a global scale?
I think one of the models that I was discussing, which is probably in lines with the work near home model is look at a country like Estonia. A very small country with I don't know how much population. They became the digital capital of the world. I think the model that Kerala can emulate is, like a distributed collaborative model, right? You probably open small, well-equipped workspaces across tier 2, tier 3 towns, and the bigger cities like Kochi or Trivandrum can act as gateways. So the model could be a digital collaborative capital of the world where tier 2, tier 3 takes more precedence. And also what we've seen is, if you look at the Estonia example again, you will have a couple of key brands coming out, right? Like a Skype came out of that place. You could follow a more distributed model where you encourage medium and small enterprises to, distribute that risk, distribute the potential.
Yeah, even in my point also in Kerala, the higher education intake, if you look at the national average, probably it is on a higher side. But when it's come to the employment, I think Kerala is way behind the national average, right? Which probably this lacking of skill set, the unavailability of facility within the Kerala, probably this rural the arrangements kind of this kind of things probably will help the youngsters to get the women unemployment. I think 47%. I'm not sure about the numbers, but 47%.
Less than 20%.
Yeah.
Less than 20% women workforce.
So that is it's in a very high numbers. I think these kind of rural ecosystems probably can help to increase that, so they can also handle their home as well as we in our culture itself, whatever we talk about it, we want it to be like that, so that these kind of arrangements will really help to improve that. And as he rightly said, definitely to do that, we'll have to create a lot of brand images in the ecosystem what we are giving in the rural areas. Like he said, okay, in the coffee tables and these, that, and all. They should feel the international environment in their local places itself. That has to be there. So with that, definitely we can achieve it. We can be a knowledge-based job capital of probably in India. So especially if you look at Kerala's youth, because they used to with the culture of different countries, because we are migrating to different part of the world, and like probably one of the largest migrating population. So which that culture is actually part of our blood. So it is easy to adapt any back office or any company's back office jobs can be easily handled by a Kerala guy if you need a necessary training. But the training level, when you start, that is a question. Mostly the training will start when he hire an employee, he has to spend 1 month or 2 months to train an employee, a graduate to an employable person. I think you will agree with me. So when we are also facing the same thing, so which has to start little early age, and eventually that part will be taken care.
We have the big impact of AI coming in. Will AI help the youngsters bypass the rigid systems, right? Do you foresee that happening so that kids can get trained themselves in whichever skill they want and they can come in?
Yeah, in fact, we are also here because we are launching our AI brand. It's called Aina. The Aina, AINA. Yeah, so we are here in Kerala because we choose this opportunity to launch Aina as a brand. The thesis is pretty simple. What we are saying is, Aina is a very powerful tool. We are built for India, built in India. We'll handle the vernacular conversations in Indian languages to speak with Indian customers. And what we've seen is it doesn't replace the people. It only augments their skill. It helps them to perform better. The pre-AI era, let's say, example, a customer service representative was talking to a client's customer. He could have done it in a better way. In the post-AI era, it automatically prompts him to do better. So the error rates are going down. The customer satisfaction levels are going up. AI can replace human performances at a very entry basic level. But when you want to have meaningful conversations, I think we are some time away. I hope that never happens.
AI is definitely a supportive mechanism. I believe, in the AI era, how our youngsters can withstand is probably one of the things which they have to really focus on is domain expertization on the area which they wanted to focus on. I see that training mostly the people doesn't have any idea on after probably the higher secondary what they're going to study and what they're going to do. So such kind of decision is going to take on the probably at the age of 30s or which has to start little early, and they have to be little focused on. You'll have to able to identify the skill set of each youngsters. Like if you look at our population, and India it's an young country, right? I think 65% of our population is below 35, which is the biggest advantage of which India have. Which is, I think, the India government's plan or vision to become a developed nation by 2047, right? See, there is a calculation here that we have 15 or 20 years more to become a developed nation. A developed nation, we wanted to become a developed nation, so now our per capita income is probably $2,800 or less than $3,000, right? Which has to increase to $12,000 to $13,000, which is a big number, right? To achieve these big numbers, we'll have to train these youngsters from the very childhood level onwards, That is very important, make the kids or make the youth to an employable population. So that is very important. That is really happening on the university level, which is a real big question. And AI is definitely a supportive tool. As he mentioned, the information is in their fingertips, and they don't want to browse, and they don't want to take time for that. They can just simply chat and get it, the information on their fingertips, and they know what is happening. I don't know what is the generation which Gen Z and Alpha generation, they're very capable than us in using the technologies, which we don't want to train them. But the other skills, as I mentioned, the human-centric skill, probably we'll have to train them. The decision-making, negotiation, and those kind of skills, probably AI can analyze it, but AI cannot replace it. So which we'll have to train on the university and school levels itself. And there should be a educational institutions and industries and economic bodies and all these things come, bring together and, do some exercise on it. See, we were, operating in UK. The biggest support which we got when we launched in UK, the universities are coming forward and, they were willing to work with us, and they are ready to do any kind of project which we are giving, and they are giving students for us for 6 months without any cost. And such kind of participation is happening from the university level. So this has to happen in Kerala. Will have to be more job-oriented trainings or job-oriented discussions has to happen from the the colleges level or schools levels. We are currently at the moment we are thinking only on how to score probably a better marks in exams. So it doesn't make any, I don't think, as an employer, if I look at the candidate, I don't check how many graduations he's having, how many post-graduations, it doesn't matter for me. So what I look forward is he has having the domain expertization, he's having sort of human-centric skills to handle the human beings. The business is happening between the people, right? So, yeah.
I'll have to put this as the last question. Having great spaces and business hubs and building that ecosystem, I think it's very, very critical for the funding that will come in, just as you say. So have you seen how just change in space and having a hub and ecosystem prompts people to invest better? Is that one of the criteria?
Definitely. I think the entire ecosystem works on 3 pillars, right? The first is the government, which advocates policy and provides infrastructure. We from the industry provide jobs, and the community builds trust, right? The entire ecosystem is based on these 3 pillars. Unless all these 3 come together, there is no industry. So from a client perspective, when we say that we are opening up in remote locations like this, obviously there is a very curious angle to them. But what really matters to them is performance. So if you look at the Palakkad Center, it has the lowest attrition levels. Attrition is one of the biggest bane for our industry. It's the lowest. So when you look at from that angle, obviously it makes a lot of sense to embark on this globally distributed model of workspaces. I think it augurs really well for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, definitely that will help. See, the space constraint is, as I said, the infrastructure constraint is there. It's a reality, it's a fact. So if that can be solved, I'm sure the Kerala can attract a lot of investments, especially on the knowledge-based jobs. See, the biggest thing, biggest supporting point for me is, I know that as an NRI, since I have, few connections, few contacts, and I could able to connect with this ecosystem very easily, so get into that. So for me, like, the hundreds of thousands of people, they are living abroad. They can make this state as probably #1 state in the entire country. Right. We will have to, what we are really lacking is, Kerala is not geographically good for a manufacturing based job. So we are actually more prompt to a white collar job. So knowledge economy. So that has to really, for that infrastructure is required, and the government has to market it, and it has to advertise and attract the people. So then it will be a different ballgame.
Yeah, Dr. Arun, just one last statement I want to make. I think most of the states try to look at, grabbing that marquee name, right? They'll say some industry has put up 100 crore and it becomes a headline. But does it actually lead to employment, right? I mean, though it has a trickle effect, but probably they would be creating 1,000 jobs. But the headlines do matter. But for a state like Kerala, I think the model really has to be a very distributed workforce model, where medium and small enterprises like us work at the grassroots level, right, to handle, a lot of societal issues. I was just mentioning about 60% of our people are women. So, that leads to societal change. I think that should be the core model.
Thank you so much, Evi
you
and
very much.
Ankit, for sharing a lot of wisdom here, a lot of great points, I think, which will be tabulated. And thank you all for listening to us. And I think we have closed also within the lunch break. Thank you very much.
Thank you.